All righty. Hello, everyone. All right. So I have got three different guests today: Vinicio, Adam, and Caprice with me. We're going to be reviewing a movie called Brain Damage today. Go ahead and show off your copies if you got it here. Yeah,
I
so
don't
he
know.
doesn't have the slip, and he's got a purple one over there. Vinicio does. His is a Diabolic exclusive, right?
Yeah, and the UK version. So yeah.
Yes. So, yep, yep. And it came with a pin, which you could stick
Yes,
on the back
sir.
of your neck if you'd like. Um,
Yeah.
and colors. Yeah.
Get
But
the-
yeah, so this is actually going to take place of my stream that I had planned with Brian Goes Blue and Pop's Movie Dungeon. We had to postpone that. They live in Florida and there is a hurricane going on right now. So obviously thoughts and prayers go out to them, making sure that their families and their movie collections are safe. So we'll postpone that to next week. So we've got a brain damage review. We are pre-recording this. And if you guys enjoy it, let us know in the comment section below. They'll read it. And if you guys want to see us do a live stream sometime, let us know. Maybe we will make that happen. So let me go
Yeah.
ahead and introduce Vinicio. Go ahead and introduce yourself first.
What's going on, everybody? This is Versus Loco, the motherfucking Horde Cholo, and I'm back in it again. Thanks to Bob bringing him in here. This is our second time doing something like this together. Monday we have our slipcover thing coming up, so that's gonna be fun. I'm really enjoying vibing with Bob here, man. Bob's a really cool guy, so I'm glad to be a part of this again, and happy to be here. Make sure you follow me on YouTube, the Horde Cholo, Vinicio the Horde Cholo.
Absolutely. And I will post everyone's links in the description down below. So make sure to subscribe to them. They're all on Instagram. I talk to all of them on Instagram daily. So they're very active on there as well. But let me go ahead and introduce Adam. That is your name, I assume, right, Adam? I've never even fully asked you if it's Adam. I'm assuming Adam, the movie
Yes.
hunter.
Damn.
Yeah. That's my real name. Yes. Adam the Movie Hunter is who I am. That's where you'll find me on YouTube, but I Want That Movie on Instagram. So two different names, scenarios, like alter egos, basically. But I just do a lot of exploitation, horror exploitation,
Adam's my
all of it.
people.
I review movies on my Instagram, and I do hunts on YouTube. So I'm starting to get into these things. Like this is my first connect here with Bob and you guys as well. First live or review, I guess you could say, on YouTube. So I can't wait to do more stuff. Do maybe a live stream in the future as well. So glad to be here. So thanks,
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah, we're recording this at about 1 a.m. because they all live in California, and I finished up my
Yeah.
live stream, and we decided to do it this late. It was a perfect time for them, and I'm up all hours of the night, so I don't have a life outside of work and YouTube, so it works out. But yeah, I've been chatting with Adam on Instagram, and I saw all those I spit on your grapes, and I was like, this is my kind of people. Let me reach out.
Yes.
Yep. Same with Vinicio, Caprice here. Go ahead and introduce yourself. You're always in live streams. Everybody kind of knows who you are now, but go ahead and kind of let people know formally who you are and what's going on in the world of Caprice.
The world of Caprice. Okay, well, hi, my darlings. I'm Caprice, aka Draculina, and yeah, I'm in this chat because of Bob. So, as a lot of you know already, maybe not all of you, but a lot of you, I'm actually starting up my own YouTube channel. It's called Draculina and Friends. That is going to go live October 1st. I have a Instagram right now dedicated to that as well. That is also called Draculina and Friends. They're going to be intertwined with each other, and starting October 1st, I actually have a 31 days of Halloween horror movie challenge that I'm doing that's going to be on both platforms. So yes, I'm very excited about that. So if you want to go ahead and give me a follow, the link will be down in the description below. And I can't wait to start talking horror every day and seeing everybody every day. So thank you also, and thank you, Bob, for all the help and all the support you've given me for my channel. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, one thing, I mean, we could sit here. Before we started this, we were just talking about horror for almost an hour. I mean, I could just sit here and talk for 6 hours about movies. I mean, I love it. I love
Right.
supporting people in the movie community because you guys have done the same for me, you guys and gals. But yeah, so it's great. You know, definitely support each other. If you're watching this, go out and support these people. And just, you know, talk to them, get to know them. I always enjoy having conversations. I know a lot of people follow on Instagram. They say follow for follow. I don't do that crap. Look, if you want to get to know me, man. Like Vinicio, Adam, Caprice, they become good friends, not just people I follow on Instagram. So, you know, I talk to them every day. So, but yeah, before I ramble too long, we're 5 minutes in already. Let's go ahead and get into Brain Damage, interesting film from Frank.
Oh yeah.
So I got a little cheat sheet here. I didn't take as many notes on this one. I rewatched it. We all rewatched it. But Brain Damage came out April 15th, 1988 in the US. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 67% from the critics, so it is fresh, and 64% from the audience. So it's fresh as well. Letterboxd 3.6 out of 5. And the four of us do not know each other's ratings. We actually don't know if we enjoyed the film, so it makes it a lot more fun because we'll find out at the end. If we hated it, we'll kind of discuss it as we go. But yeah, do you guys have anything to add? Any facts or anything you want to talk about the movie? Any interesting things you wanted to mention before we kind of go ahead and discuss the movie? Frank Henenlotter did direct it. I don't know the actor's name or the actress, though.
I don't remember the name either.
I don't remember.
No.
Oh,
but what
I know Brian is Rick Herbst. However you pronounce that.
And he's Brian. Yeah, because
he's like the only one that I know for sure. Like, I stopped reading after that name.
Yeah. Now, one thing I always try to say is, you know, about 5 minutes from now, we'll get into spoilers, but we'll let you know when we're going to get into spoilers, and then we'll discuss spoiler reviews and things like that. But is it just me, or is Elmer's voice just something you want to put you to bed?
I love it. Yeah, it's so funny. It's you almost don't expect it to be like that, you know. And
at all.
Like it fits though. After a while, you're like, damn, it's so unique.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go too far ahead, but the tune, like in Elmer's voice, is like it's good. I like Elmer's voice.
Yeah, I do too. It's so soothing. So yeah, Vinicio, what you got for us? I know you had some
so yeah, a couple things. I mean, you know, I know we got a few shout outs in that movie to his previous movie, which was Basket Case. So there's actually two characters from his Basket Case that came back and made a little thing in there. I was also reading that the apartment building that they're in is actually one of them actually lived there in the apartment building. And then another thing about Frank Henenlotter is that a lot of his movies are, I mean, they're literally like guerrilla style filmed. So a lot of his props and things like that, I mean, they say that they went dumpster diving for a lot of that stuff. So brand new doors, but a lot of different things like that. They literally had a crew that would dumpster dive and look for extra things for them. So I thought.
Now, I've got two questions. First one being, I didn't catch the characters from Basket Case.
The black female, she was was like a prostitute. She's at the very beginning of the film. She lived right across the street from him. And then when they were on the subway,
the biggest
literally has the basket, you know. So
yeah,
that was a huge
shot. Dwayne and Belial, you didn't like literally they're staring at each other in the basket, like,
and he gets scared and walks away.
Wow. I missed that.
And it's like a later Dwayne because he's got the full mullet like hair going. Yeah. It's like Basket 3-ish.
Well, Basket Case was like 1982 or 81. 80?
I don't recall
something like that.
Yeah, I'd say so. Something like that.
Now, so all of us have seen all three Basket Case movies then?
Yeah.
I have all three. I've actually only watched 1 and 2. I love the first Basket Case.
Yes.
I hated the second one, so I didn't even watch the third.
Yeah, the second and third are not nearly as good as the first. I didn't think so. Adam, thoughts on them?
They get a little bit more cheesy. Is it 2 that has the love scene between Belial and
I think so because I've seen it before.
Yeah. So that's part 2, and then 3 is they don't get as I like 1 the best. You know,
1 is the best.
It's more that's more horror actually to me.
Yeah.
1, and then the rest are just campy, fun, cheesy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
It gets cheesier as it goes on.
Yeah, real thick as it gets
Yeah,
to 3.
super thick.
I'm starting to realize a lot of these sequels, like obviously Evil Dead 2, and we could go on with plenty of other sequels. They get so campy and cheesy as the sequels go on, as they just, I don't know, they want to go, out there more and start to, who knows? But look at Child's Play when they started to get into the Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, right? Yeah. But let's see here. So there was one other, those were my questions. So have you guys seen Frankenhooker?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm the only one who hasn't seen Frankenhooker.
Oh, you haven't? Really?
God, Bob.
I think I'm gonna watch it in October.
Damn it, Bob.
Because, yeah, I'm always messing up. I know.
That one's fun too. That one's fun
Oh
too.
yeah, I gotta check that one out. And then what else has he directed? I thought there was another one or two. But I think those are the only big ones that I know of. I know you just showed some rated X titles today, Adam, that he's directed, right?
Yeah. Erotic horror. Yeah.
Erotic horror. Yeah.
Rated X.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't even know until I noticed the name, and that's why I was like, wait a minute. Coincidence? We're doing Brain Damage tonight, and then I'm cleaning the disc watching Evil Dead Trap 2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is one of his movies. So yeah, he does a lot of things.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I got to look into some of his other filmography, but I definitely want to check out Frankenhooker. I do have that from Synopsis Films, and I was about to say that's getting a 4K, but no, that's Street Trash getting a 4K.
I can't wait for Street Trash.
I'm excited about that one.
The colors alone should be
right.
Yeah, and the best part about that is Synopsis Films, and you could argue with me on this. I'll argue to the death. Synopsis Films does the best transfers, so it's going to be a good transfer because when they do their 4K restorations, take the original camera and upgrade it. They don't just do like upgrade 4K scan or anything like that. They actually take the original camera negative and go into it. So yeah, Don and Jerry
Vinegar does that as well. I just want to throw that out there.
I've heard Vinegar Syndrome has great 4Ks. Yeah,
they do.
How did Thriller look on 4K? You guys seen that yet?
Yeah,
I haven't popped mine in, but I have watched other 4K of Vinegar, and they've all looked beautiful.
Yeah. I've watched
especially by Rad.
Does Arrow Video do that with the original camera negative or not really? Any idea?
I think when they could find it, then
it always works out the best when you can find the original camera negative and do it from that. But yeah, all right.
That's the way it should be done.
Yes, absolutely. That's why Maniac Cop hasn't gotten an upgrade yet because they can't find the original camera negative for it.
Yeah, I think it was destroyed. I think they said.
I thought the guy who had it passed away, and then they have zero clue where it's at.
Oh, wow.
I think that may be Frankenhooker or something like that. So yeah, unfortunately, and you said a lot of film used to get burned and stuff like that in fires. So
I mean, the reason Vinegar Syndrome is called Vinegar Syndrome is because when that reel is sitting there, it starts to deteriorate. It smells like vinegar. So I mean, that's after a while they're no good anyway. So that they're trying to restore those things from the reels that they have, and that's how they came up with their whole name.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, did you watch New York Ninja, that one? Because
I started it.
Couldn't get through it.
It's definitely not one that interests me either.
Look at that face, though. He was like, I started it.
That's exactly why I haven't watched it. That face right there.
Adam, I need your truth right here, okay?
Well, because it's not very good. I didn't like the first 20 minutes. The only reason I have it is because of Linnea Quigley's voiceover, because I'm a Linnea fan. I just buy anything that's got Linnea in it. I don't even care if it's her pinky was just passed by the camera. I would get it.
Adam, LA Age Jabber or New York Ninja?
Oh my god.
Well, I've seen all of LA Age Jabber. I forced myself to watch it. So I haven't really got through New York yet. So maybe I might like the last hour. So I'm gonna go with New York Ninja. First 20 minutes watched that I didn't even like over LA Age Jabber.
Man, it's crazy that movie is that horrible, and I can guarantee that so many people bought it because that cover art looks pretty good.
Yeah.
To me, yes, that's why I bought it. But now that I realize it's not that scary with someone running around just poking someone with a needle, like a hypodermic, like just poking them and running away. Like and no one's dying. There's no blood. You know when you get poked with a needle, there's a blood drop, if that, and there's no, it's not worth it. Like, oh, you have AIDS now and you'll die in 4 years,
Oh my
3
God.
years. You need to see like LA AIDS Jabber Part 3 to watch the deaths from 1, because it's not.
Jesus.
It's not good.
That's funny. That's funny though. All right. Well, anything else? Any other interesting facts before we get started here?
I think that's all I had.
Yeah, I just watched it. I didn't like research too much about it. I just watched it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's the idea. It's a review, so conversation review. All right, so let's kind of go ahead and get into it. So, what basically the movie opens, if I remember correctly, with I just watched it yesterday, but the 2 old people in the building, right? That's kind of how it opens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're like that's brains that they have, right?
Yeah,
it's a bunch of lamb brain, I think they said.
Yep.
Okay, lamb brain, yeah. And then they go into and that woman was so annoying.
Yes.
Holy shit.
That honestly is like one of the complaints that I have of that movie. Like, why did they make that screaming scene so fucking long? Like, it's like, we get it, she screamed, but then they're just and the camera's just right there. It's like, come on, dude. Like, does it need to be that long?
There's a couple of them in this movie though that you're just like, stop.
Yeah.
Like, stop yelling at this point.
It's very awkward.
Yeah,
So,
unnecessary.
Why did they start foaming at the mouth? At first I was like, withdrawals, right?
Yeah, the main character actually started doing that in the bathroom too later on in the movie.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things I have that I actually really like about this movie is that it's all about addiction. Whether people want to accept that or not, or acknowledge it or realize it. But yeah, I'm a big fan of films about addiction, but there's some great underlying and hidden tones. And
I was actually reading that Frank Henlotter said he was addicted to cocaine, and this was one of the things that he made as kind of telling his a weird way of talking about addiction, because he used to be addicted to cocaine. So I mean, it makes perfect sense. That's exactly what we're seeing. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I'm a big fan of addiction, but I've struggled with addiction in the past myself. Like, I'm an open book about that stuff. Like, I was just caught up in like alcohol a bit, you know what I mean? And so like when I watch films about addiction, especially something like this, I'm like, yeah, it's relatable. I've had family go through it, and it's a horror movie and it's a bit ridiculous and stuff like that, but it's a lot of fun. And I think that they do a very good job of showing some real things that you see going on. Like she said, especially in the bathroom, which is one of probably my favorite scenes. But we'll get into that a little bit more. So, all right, let's go ahead and kind of move past the beginning there. So we get to see them kind of foaming at the mouth, and then all of a sudden we see our main character. I actually really like his girlfriend in this, by the way. Beginning, you guys like his girlfriend in this or no?
Yeah,
I think she's like a girl that he's seen. I don't think it's officially his girlfriend.
Yeah, now what she's doing is roommate.
And he like walks in on it, and he's just like cool with it. I don't think it's his girlfriend yet.
No, but at first, before she fucks is it his brother? I think
it's his roommate.
I think it's his roommate. But
okay, I thought he said brother at one point in it.
It could,
but
maybe I missed it if he said that.
But before that, when I first watched this movie a long time ago, I was like, she's a really good character. She's nice. She is understanding and stuff. But then, yes, she becomes where she screws his roommate or his brother or whatever. But
she's average. She did her job,
Yeah.
I mean, she's not memorable for me. She's like, I need a lady to fit the role and the budget. Like, this is how much I'm gonna pay. But she's not like, I don't remember in other horror movies. Like,
no, I just thought she was fine. I enjoyed her in the beginning of this, and then I was like, what the hell, when she became the character she did. But so what did you guys think of the opening sequence where we first meet Brian, our main character, and he's got his neck he wakes up, right? That's the first kind of we get to see him. He wakes up, or he goes back to bed, wakes up, and his neck is bleeding. He doesn't feel
the back of his neck with all that dried up blood everywhere. I thought that actually looked cool. It looked nasty, So it looks obviously did a good job, because if you could say that, nasty.
One
and then
thing
the blood
about
all over the sheets too would like thick
Yeah.
and look crazy.
Yeah, one thing about this movie that everybody can agree on is the colors are incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely just incredible. That's
Especially
one thing.
Elmer.
Yeah.
Elmer. Yeah.
It's so weird just the feel, and like you can almost feel him watching the movie, and how he's like, put me on the back of your neck. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we first get introduced to it, and like you were talking about, almost like cocaine, is when he's meeting Elmer and he sees the blood and he's taking
Yeah.
it or whatever, and then he kind of goes back to bed and he realizes that he's like, there's somebody in here, and Elmer comes out and introduces himself and he freaks out.
Yeah.
But then he puts him in his bucket on the bed and he's talking to him.
Yeah.
That's when, and then he says, put me on the back of your neck and I'll introduce you to some like really cool stuff, basically. Right?
I'll give you my juice.
My juice. Yes. My
Blue juice.
The blue juice.
That scene and you talking about his relationship with cocaine is so unique to me. Now, I've never done cocaine, but I hear it's a hell of a drug. Benicio, you're like, yeah.
My younger days, I'll pull out a laundry list of things that I've done, and it's funny though, because when he first feels that first feeling and sees the colors, I was like, damn, that like reminds me of ecstasy, man. That's what it's like to be on ecstasy. The way he was looking in his face and everything like that, that was like ecstasy trip to me. So it's pretty cool how they did that. You know, it's just
never done X, but like that feeling of feeling something for the first time when he puts it, when he like you said, your juice. And I feel like I've known people who've struggled with cocaine addiction and things like that, and it's like I've had conversations with them, and that first, like you just said, that first introduction to that, you know what I mean, it's just that trippy feeling. It's like, wow. And then he wants more of it right away. Immediately you get a taste. That's what they say, right? With addiction, you know, you get a taste of it and you're like, you want more, you know. Right. And so what did you guys think of that?
It's very real. I thought it was very interesting and awesome how they portrayed that. You know, they kind of developed the whole situation perfectly, and I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam,
great. Yeah, I liked it. It was great, like set up for the rest of the movie, like how it was going to go. Because you just kept wanting more and more of it. So that first taste where it leads him to the like junkyard. I think it was right after he had the hit. You know, like he starts to have. It was basically an LSD trip. Because
that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, the hallucination. You know how he hallucinated. You know, after, but yes, the first how it made him feel. Yeah, it seemed like X or something, because he was like euphoric. He was like, yes, I love this.
Yeah. And then
he's in the club touching the speakers and putting his head against it. Like,
right.
Yeah.
And in the junkyard, we see him. That's the first moment, because he's just tripping, basically.
Yeah.
And the cop comes by and he's like, what's going on? You know, and that's when Elmer kills for the first time. Yeah. And he's like laying on the car and he's like, is he all right? And Elmer's like, no, he's not. He's dead.
No, he's not.
And
he's
thought
like,
that,
not bad, a bit underdone.
A bit underdone,
Yes.
I will say this movie
Elmer's one-liners.
Yes, Elmer's one-liners are A1 in this movie.
Because that's what he says, is he good, right? And he's like,
yeah.
Just a little bit.
That's what he actually says, because that was like the first kill, so I put down, not bad, a bit underdone. But in Elmer's voice, of course. So
of course, which can't be replicated.
Can you do an impersonation of Elmer, please?
I cannot.
I can't. I'm not even gonna try.
Adam, you got it? No.
No, I'm trying to like put it there, but I'm not like smooth like Elmer. It's like
the way you did your neck, though.
You know,
you got the movement. You got the movement, Aaron.
Not bad, a bit underdone. Like, I'm trying, but it's hard. He's smooth.
Yeah, he's got.
Smooth.
He's got such a soft voice for sure.
Mhm.
So well spoken. Not bad.
Oh, actually, I read also. I mean, it's obvious that his voice was recorded afterwards, but they said they did that because the wires and mechanics that they had inside of him were so loud that there was no way to record it as they did it. So they basically, when you see him, it's the film is like the sound is off, and then they did his voice afterwards, only because his mechanics were so loud.
I couldn't tell. I thought it looked really. The audio lined up.
It did look good, really good.
Both movements lined up with his audio.
Yeah.
I thought that looked really good.
Good post
Honestly,
good post.
Yeah, no, especially for a low budget. I think the budget on this was like 900,000.
Wow.
Correctly, I think 900,000. I don't know what it made, but I believe that was like the budget. So, but yeah, so we're at the junkyard, and that's the scene where he says, I get more, and he's like, no, you've had enough, right? But then he gives him some more juice, doesn't he?
Was he say, oh, the colors are fading. I need more.
Colors are fading.
Just a little taste, just a little bit of give them.
A little
more. It's so like I've never been down that road of addiction, but it's still like hits home. It's still relatable. Even as funny as it sounds, as movie collectors, what you see behind all of us and stuff. We are all addicts at heart, like movie addicts, and so we can get, we're like, I just need another taste. Please let me get another arrow. One
more movie.
How many can I afford this month?
Yeah. So, I mean, I always tie that like anything about addiction. I'm like, as corny as it sounds, we're all kind of movie addicts at heart, like physical media addicts, junkies. And I think of myself as having withdrawals when I don't buy a movie for 2 days. I'm like, I need one. I need my brain damage fix. Elmer, where are you? Give me an Arrow Video title. But so that's the first thing in the junkyard. And I'll let one of you guys kind of go ahead and take over, if you want to, Vinicio. What exactly happens after that?
Oh man, you could put me. I have a strange question. I'm gonna defer this real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
The guy that died in the junkyard, is that the same exact actor that was in the stall that dies later on in the bathroom stall that's reading the comic book, or am I tripping?
I don't know.
It looked like an older actor.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I wasn't
the one in the bathroom seemed younger, but they did look alike.
Yeah.
But the one in the bathroom stall was a little younger.
Okay.
Now Caprice,
because I think they elapsed time. If I'm not mistaken, they elapsed time from after that scene. They must because then it was like the boyfriend and the girlfriend coming back in and talking. I think about Brian.
Yeah.
I think they elapsed after the junkyard.
They definitely do because he's in his apartment and his roommate or whatever and her are coming back from I assume a date or something, and she's like I'm worried about him, and he's got pails of buckets out, and
all the locks on the door.
When he's in the bathtub.
Locks.
When he's in the bathtub, and he's like, "Woo!" Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because that's where after they went from the junkyard, basically, because they don't show maybe all the other kills that could have led up to the next one.
Yeah.
Now, Caprice, a little confession about her. She's seen this twice. She watched it on what, back-to-back days?
No. Oh. Yeah. So I watched it on Monday, and then I watched it again earlier today.
And then
a little bit beforehand, just in case, just to make sure that my feelings hadn't changed.
Yeah.
So we're on 2.5.
Yeah, she messaged me on Instagram, and she's like, I have so much to say, but I gotta wait. So I was like, yeah, hold it in. So after Adam, I'll let you and Caprice kind of go ahead. After the apartment scene right there, is that where we get to the club?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's right. Exactly. Then it leads into the club where
they were supposed to go on a date, and then they go on the said date. He leaves halfway through because he starts hallucinating and seeing brain in the food.
That looks cool too.
Exactly, like the spaghetti.
That scene was
pulsating.
Yeah, it went from one brain to 3 brains, and they're pulsating in the sauce, and It's
That was
actually a
cool.
pretty cool visual, to be
The way it
honest.
starts
I want to
with
see that in
one,
4K.
the meatball,
Right?
oh, that was incredible. But before, when he's having dinner with her, she's like, "What's going on with you?" And he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna tell you." And then as soon as he
Yeah.
starts to do it, like he's like, "Ow!" And so Elmer does something to him to stop him, to let him
Yeah.
know, "Don't share our secret," basically.
Yeah. And then he gets up, and then that's when he ends up at the nightclub.
Yeah. And I'll let one of you guys to the nightclub. We got a lot to say because that's
Yeah, a lot to say
if you've seen this and you're
about
still
that
watching,
nightclub.
I'll let you, Vinicio, take it away. Talk about the nightclub scene.
So yeah, he stumbles into this nightclub. It's
This
weird.
is on you, Benicio.
The
This
sign
is
on the
on
outside
you.
says hell, and he thinks, oh, I'm gonna go in here. So he goes inside the nightclub and he's like just seeing anybody that jumps into him, like somebody's hair like pokes him in his eye, and he goes, oh, and laughing about it, and just like touching people, and sees that the speaker, and goes up to the speaker and start listening to it, like with his head up against it, rubbing it and stuff. And some chick, I don't understand, man, was she must be like some kind of want to take advantage of somebody, because she was just immediately like attracted to this guy and
Right.
knew that he was fucked up.
She was in it to win it. She was in it to win it.
I guess.
Yeah,
I
don't know. I didn't know what she was. Because she wasn't like, she was a stripper, or prostitute, but she wasn't looking for money. She was ready to blow him in the alleyway.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just all you want, I guess.
Right?
I mean, she was on a
guess,
mission. She was on a mission, and the fucked up part was she knew exactly where to go. And so it kind of is like, she's been here before.
Come to my office.
Yeah, come to my office. Just, this do not enter door that we're just magically leaning up against. But
then he's passing out, and she's like, she just puts him up against something.
Yeah.
She just props him. She literally props him up against the wall, and it's just like,
Yeah.
And she, again, like I said, was on a mission and
take care of business.
At the fear of sounding like a pervert here, she had a great rack.
This is true.
Yes, I think we can all agree with that one.
Yes.
But yeah, so this scene, it involves 3 heads, some brain,
right?
Physical
brain.
Was,
it was a little,
and there's no wordplay going on here. This is actually going on. Yeah.
I'm gonna let the 3 of you talk about this scene. So
actually, I have a question about this scene. Maybe you guys could fill me in. But how is it that, okay, so obviously, he was like past that. At that point, he looked like he was on heroin, like nodding out.
Yeah.
Then, when she's down there doing what she's doing, and then, Elmer comes out of the zipper, goes inside her mouth, and tries to start eating her brains. How is it that, because he doesn't want these deaths to happen. He just wants to be high, but he's grabbing her head and like shoving it down. So why would he why wouldn't his right mind would he like be doing that to I don't know. He didn't want him to die the whole time. He just wanted to get high. No. So how is it that he's like forcing her head down there?
Well, if you notice that whenever the kills happen, he kind of blacks out. He doesn't remember them. And so I think in that point in time, Elmer is the one that's like really in control.
Yeah.
And so like, again, when they're in the bathroom, he says, and what about the night guard? He says, you don't remember the night guard? Like, of course he's dead. Like, don't remember? Like, he doesn't remember because it's not really him doing it. It's Elmer.
That's right.
And I just want to say this right now. If she really wanted to get away, she could have.
Yeah, she could have. Her hands.
Her hands. Like, she wasn't even touching him. Her hands were just
She could have grabbed Elmer by the shaft.
She could have. She could have. And she didn't.
She didn't.
She didn't.
I almost called you Elmer, Adam. My bad. So, but Adam, what did you message me on Instagram? It was like that scene has 3 tips or 3 heads.
Yeah, it was a little head eating a head while in the active
Getting
head.
Oh my god.
It was a trifecta head, like
It was a trifecta head. Wow.
because that doesn't normally happen. Like that
No.
scene was great. I loved it.
The quote from that scene I wrote down before it begins, because she's not talking, she's just going, oh. Yeah. So the quote I wrote down that I laughed at, I just started cracking up at, is when she says, "You got a real monster in there."
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he does.
I was dying. I was like, oh my god. I said, is this I was literally sitting here and I had my phone in my hand because I already knew something was going to happen. And so I had Bob's chat open and I was like, I can't with this right now. And so it starts to happen. And I literally hit record because I sent him a voice message and I was just hysterically laughing. And it wasn't even me talking or anything. I was just laughing. And I think at the end of the message, I finally was able to just mutter out, like, I can't, dude. Like, I can't with this right now. Like, what the fuck do you have us watching right now? And like after it, he was like, don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Benicio, you were going to say something right there?
Was this your first time watching this then? Or your
Caprices.
first 2.5 times? Oh,
Caprice.
really?
Two
Oh,
and a half.
2.5, yeah.
Oh,
2.5.
I didn't realize it was your first time watching. Okay.
Yeah, my first
Yeah.
2.5. So I had to watch it the first time as my initial first time. Then I had to watch it as a second just to make sure that I saw what I saw.
Got everything.
And then the third half time was just to make sure I still felt the same. So
He was watching that scene in the alleyway or whatever before.
I went through a couple of emotions throughout this movie.
Now you both have seen it previously, right?
Yeah, I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's funny too because I came up with a list of movies I had sent them, and we kind of agreed on Brain Damage, and the other ones there's some like sexploitation and whatever else in there, and Adams type of movies, and there was one called Porno Holocaust.
That we all apparently have to go find because
Yeah.
Bob has not
The
been able to
hardest.
stop talking about it.
I
like
don't
a
know
week.
what it's about. I've never seen it.
So we're gonna have to pay like $50 for that thing.
Yeah, it's not cheap. So there's just a lot of different movies out there that we could review. We decided on Brain Damage, and this is how it came about. But okay, so
Jesus.
we finished the alleyway scene. Anybody else want to touch on that anymore, or whatever? I didn't.
It is what it is.
Didn't mean to do a play on words.
And he pulls out her brain, and you could see the pants, and the brain's like coming out of his pants too.
Yeah, dude. It was gnarly.
Oh, that's disgusting.
I'm
It just went right back in.
I'm like a nerd when it comes to special effects, so I mean, you could really tell. And I think I read this also that it's literally just a huge pair of pants that they had right there. You know, nothing in there, and that's why when she's putting her hand in there, you can tell it's just like flat, like a board. You know, there's like nothing because there was nothing, and that's why when it comes out and pulls, it's literally just a black pair of pants. That's it. So
Now, why was he in his pants? Was he getting ready for a blowjob so he could go straight into her brains?
I was like, yeah, I'm assuming that is exactly what he was planning.
Elmer's like, I know what's coming. This chick is kinky.
Yeah, it was strange because he did like crawl around his body, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
If he had a belt on, I don't know how he got. I don't want to overthink the blowjob scene. Like,
And he kind of, I think he kind of got the idea going back into the bathtub when he found out they were going to go on the date with the girlfriend, and he was all like, woohoo, you know, like he got all excited because he was like, I'm gonna gag this chick. But you know, it was like one of those things where I think it was just in the spur of the moment, he was like, oh, she's going for the pants, and then he kind of just did it.
Took advantage.
Now I can't stop thinking, since I almost called Adam Elmer, I'm thinking of Elmer the Movie Hunter.
Yeah, it works.
It's now officially changed.
Right, Elmer. But even though, if you guys remember, it's actually Aylmer. It's
Aylmer, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Aylmer.
Yes. My bad. Thank you for correcting me. All right. So where do we leave off after that scene? Somebody take it away here.
Doesn't he leave the club and like he takes off he tries to change his clothes?
Oh, he's in the alleyway.
Yeah.
In the alley, and he sees his.
And that's where the two old people come back out, right? and because
That's a way later, huh?
No,
That's
Okay.
late. That's later. That's
after the
near the
toilet.
end.
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
finds
he
his
goes into
underwear
the.
all
This is in the
bloody,
bathroom.
and that's when
Yeah.
Aylmer, he's like, why were my underwear bloody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when he's in the bathroom, kind of going through it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think from there where he moves to his own place or gets that hole in the wall. Like
Yeah.
where Elmer moves to the sink. Like that
Yeah, Elmer's in the sink.
Are
He's
you
in the
talking about
sink.
almost like a gas station type of thing? It's weird. It's like a rundown place, and it's just like one room.
Yeah, it's just one room, but it's a bathroom. And Aylmer ends up in the sink, and he's talking to him from the sink, and he's kind of playing on the. That's when he starts to foam at the mouth when he's on the floor.
This is one of my favorite scenes. I know Caprice
Mm-hmm.
loved the blowjob in the alley and the brains and all that stuff. But
yeah, just Caprice, right? Caprice was just like, yeah, blowjob.
Well, you messaged me. You were like, "This is the best thing in the world."
I did not. I literally messaged you and was laughing, saying no words.
Yeah.
How do you know that it was about that one? Besides me telling
I knew it was. It had to be. But there's nothing else like it. But this scene, because it's one of my favorite scenes when he says they like basically make a bet. He's like, give me your juice, and he's like, give me brains. But they need each other. That's something. If you're watching this like video and you don't understand, or you're watching the video, it's definitely they need each other, But he wants brains and he wants his juice, and he's like, let's see who folds first. Basically, and that scene is so good. It actually, in a way, I know this is nothing. It's not similar at all, but in a way, it is similar. Have you guys seen Basketball Diaries with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah. I love that movie.
Tell me that scene of him like totally just having withdrawals in the bathroom or I think it's a bathroom, is not like Leonardo DiCaprio when he's in. The guy takes him in to try and help him out when he's.
It's in like a room and it has no windows and shit, and he's in there and he's going through his withdrawal while the guy is at the door. He's on the outside of the door making sure he doesn't leave.
Yeah, I just thought that the two were similar.
Powerful fucking scene, man. That's a powerful scene.
Oh yeah.
The main guy's a really good actor too, because he plays that really well. I mean, he looks fucking sick as fuck, man.
He does. He does. Like when he walks back, I think this is the part right after where he walks into the apartment, and that's when you see the roommate and the girlfriend, and he's like, when I come back in an hour, I want you guys to be gone because I don't want it to be you.
Mm-hmm. So
I believe that's the next scene.
He's still looking out for him.
That's what happened.
Right. And then she follows his.
She follows him, and then he gets on the subway.
Wait, we missed the ear thing. How you guys gonna skip that?
No,
sorry,
that was there.
So earlier when we were talking about the elongated screams and how they were unnecessary, that's the one that I was fucking talking about. Because he's just, first of all, this character had an immense amount of blood. So there was just blood pouring out of his head.
Too.
I know it was a dream. But the screaming,
yeah.
I looked at the timer and it lasted for about 47 seconds of just screaming.
How did they film that, Benicio? Is that all special effects too?
That's all special. That's it's basically like his head inside like a board, and they have something back there that's just spraying that shit out. I mean, it's the same thing that they used in Evil Dead. Remember when the blood was coming through the walls and stuff like that? It's the same thing. It's just a harness.
Put some pressure and spray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought it was,
and it was spraying. Yeah,
it was great.
It was spraying.
There was a ton of it shooting, and then he lost his ear, and he's freaking out. That's another screaming scene for sure.
Yeah. 47 seconds of screaming. I timed it. The second time around, I timed it. It was 47 seconds.
Of all the gore. So, I was just looking at the gore, so I didn't really deal with it. At the beginning, there's nothing to look at. They're just sitting there screaming in pain for fucking hits, man.
So that once we leave that area, the bathroom, that's when we get to the apartment again, right? And that's when he's like, I don't want you guys to be here. But did we get, I can't remember now, and it's funny how you just watched it a day ago, but like what was this before or after the two in the alleyway? Still, this is still before that.
This is before. They come after.
This
Yeah,
is still
they come after the
The
train.
toilet. They come
And
like
the
after
toilet.
the bathroom and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so because this scene on the train was a little. I don't know if you guys felt bad for her at all, but I was kind of like, fucking. She was stupid to follow him. He warned her, but like, I was still like, damn. I kind of felt bad for her when this happened. But yeah, I mean, I'll let one of you guys talk about the scene on the train.
There's another fun fact. Frank Henenlotter said that was the only one permit that he had to buy during the whole filming thing was being on that train. He had to buy it. That was the one time he had to do it.
Damn.
Mm.
Yeah. All right, Aylmer down there. Go ahead and talk about the scene on the train.
Well,
Aylmer.
didn't the toilet kill come before the train kill? Before he killed his girl?
Oh my god!
Oh, it did, because that's when
Yeah,
he was
because
there.
after,
Okay, because it was right after the club.
He folded.
because
He
after
said,
the
"Okay,
brain
I'll
pulling scene
do
and
whatever you
stuff,
want."
he went. That's like he was still all like, because when he walked into that bathroom, that shower, he looked like he'd been like on a withdrawal, and he must have been like, okay, I gotta go get Elmer some brains.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
and he
then
had
we got the buff
holes, it looked like.
dude just bathing himself.
Yeah,
like, hey,
man.
buddy.
That fool's ripped, man.
Yeah,
You
you
got-
kidding me? Like, what you doing?
That dude
He's
was
in the
gigantic.
shower. I was
Yeah,
like, what
just a
I was like,
random
Dude,
shower
that
scene.
guy
Wrestler?
had a pair of butt cheeks on him.
Right?
I was
Looked like
completely
Benicio
distracted
over
by.
here.
That's
like
I was
Benicio
like,
with the
oh
big
my
They
god.
made it too, like,
and the
he
shoulders.
just-
I was like, this guy's
Yeah.
ripped like Benicio.
That
They
fool
did
was
it due diligence too. They did just a full on ass shot, and I was like, they knew what people wanted.
Yeah, they waited on that for a moment too. They just made sure the soap put down the crack. And I was like,
It was
like, okay,
artistic,
keep
Adam. It was artistic.
I get it.
It was
I
an
get it.
art farm on both
But yeah,
sides.
even Brian was he was like a slow walk. Like he didn't get to the shower for like 3 minutes. Like I swear he
We
said,
appreciate
"Turn around, have a
art
full
here."
Conversation, spun back around.
Caprice
I would've
probably
been, like,
paused it on the
straight.
soap dripping down the butt crack. Caprice is like, pause, drool. You know that
Right.
drool emoji?
This is the real
Slow-mo.
reason I watched it for 2.5 times. But
Yeah.
She watched
That's
that.
where like, and then like Elmer like slid down his leg like a deuce or something, just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, and then that was it. Then he disappeared, and I thought he was gonna take out the shower guy, but
I did
Me
too.
too.
No.
Me too. I
totally
was
went for a
surprised.
shower kill, but nope.
No, I was surprised that he didn't.
Right.
That's where I thought he went. I was kind of like, okay, he's gonna take out mini Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, I'm okay with that. and then like all of a sudden he wasn't. He was in the little dude in the bathroom. So
Right.
And
Maybe he
that's the
thought
same.
easier kill
That's
or
the
something.
same guy that you
maybe
would ask that question about in the
Yeah.
in the junkyard.
That's where he
Yeah.
takes him out.
that's where he takes him out.
Yeah.
I
Before he
love
moves
how
on.
he's like stuck on there, and you see his tail like moving back and forth. You know, it looks so cool.
That's
so
pretty much that's the first kill
That's-
too. We get to see
That's
that.
the only thing I would say, like, where I want to say I dislike about the movie is that the repetitive kills. I get you can only do so much back then with the effects, like,
Yeah.
so, but I mean, that was Elmer's preferred spot every time.
Yeah.
You know, just that same move.
Yeah.
My
it was like
question
three
is,
used like
Adam,
3 of the kills from what I say, if not.
I'm
more.
wondering. I'm sitting here wondering if Adam wanted to see Elmer eat that guy's ass.
Dude,
Hey,
was
it's not just
expecting-
Adam. We all wanted to see it.
I was expecting Elmer was going to get to that
Deep
brain.
down, we all wanted to see it.
That's in
Okay.
the director's cut. That's the director's cut where he enters the other way and kills the shower guy. Like, I'm sure that's what happens.
Oh
But-
my goodness, that's funny.
But it did throw me off. But yeah, after he did that repetitive kill again, I was like, okay, I want something different.
Wow.
Which they went back to the freaking mouth kill in the
Back to
train.
the mouth.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
right?
Yeah, that's the scene with his girl. Well,
Right.
friend, girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever. And I mean, that's where I was saying I kind of almost felt bad for her, but she kept following him, and then they're on the train, and he like kisses her, and she kisses him or whatever, and just grabbed her head. And it's funny because there's a couple of people on the train, or at least one person just watching, and they're thinking it's just PDA, and they're like
Yeah.
rolling their eyes. And little
Yeah.
do they know, this girl is getting her brains eaten out from out of her mouth, like from her mouth, much like the mouth kill you were just talking about, and with the stripper, the hooker, or whatever,
Yeah.
the prostitute. I don't know what it was, but yeah.
What
I
about
don't
when he was
know
just sitting there and going like that? and it's like coming out of his mouth and going
No,
back.
I was
hilarious.
just about to say, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but this was the first time in this movie that effects wise, I was kind of like, ooh, that's kind of rough. Because when he was, like when she was turning and he was coming out of the mouth, it was just like a light, and it was just like really rough. And I was kind of like, ooh, that, that 80s editing is really showing. But but that was the first and only time throughout this whole movie where I was kind of like, ooh, like that's kind of rough.
The thing that really got me in that scene in particular, though, is when he like wipes his mouth and it's got brains.
Yeah, and it's like
disgusting. I was like, that's nasty. I was like, oh man, did you say chunky?
Yeah,
it was very chunky. But
Caprice, were you gagging during that scene?
I'm a textures person, like 100%, and you just look at that and it's like I felt it, and it's just wet and but
what is that? Okay, have you seen? I'm just getting this image right now of Caprice. Have you guys seen? I think it's Game Night with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams, where they're in the alleyway and
honey, that's bone.
She's like, I'm like getting this idea of Caprice right now being Rachel McAdams in that scene. You guys haven't seen that?
I've seen Game Night.
Game Night, you have seen it?
Yeah.
Game Night is shit.
That like neighbor guy that like comes over there to play games. They don't want him to play games or whatever.
Yeah. Do you remember the scene in the alleyway? So she's cutting his arm open and he starts to gag, and then she gags, and he's like, if you
gag, I go.
And then Bateman starts doing the sound like.
Yeah, but it's funny because he's like, honey, that's bone.
Oh, you hear that? You hear that? And it's like bullet. And it's like, that's bone. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's an exit wound.
Me of Caprice just now because it was the same exact. So yeah.
No, right, that part was pretty gross.
I'll let one of you guys. We leave off after that scene. Exact. Now we get to the two old people, right, in the alleyway.
Yes. First, we see the old man first, and then he actually gives us our first insight of where the hell Elmer came from. Like he starts giving the day, like what he is, basically.
Backstory.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah. So we're coming back from that, and the old man from the beginning just kind of comes out of the cuts, and he starts saying, I want him back. I want him back. And he tells the character that his name is Elmer, and he kind of starts making fun of him, and he's like, Elmer, you named him Elmer? And he's like, no, Aylmer. And he starts giving you the timeline of, back to, I think, what did he say before?
1203. The Fourth Crusades is the first site.
Yeah, like he starts getting into like this whole timeline, and you're kind of like, oh shit, like this is an Entian being. And yeah, I think they ultimately end up like kind of fighting. Like,
yeah,
there's like knife play involved. Is it a gun? Yeah. Is it a gun?
Yeah, it's a little 22 Ruger that
German. It's a gun, and then the old lady has a knife, right?
Oh yeah.
One of them has a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them has a knife, and
this is the same scene where he gets like she grabs him, right? She ends up getting him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's all excited, and then her and her husband start fighting, the two old people, and that's where he fucking just latches onto her head, like competitiveness. But yeah, that one's actually pretty cool to me because he digs in her head like big time,
right?
Yeah, he's like, it's like off to the side too. It's not even like in the middle. Yeah, it's off to the side.
Movement, yeah. And she's like flaring.
Yeah.
Her fucking scream, man.
Right? She's going at it too.
She's got style. Yeah. Her scream is the one that makes you want to like scratch your own eyes out. But
yeah.
So
Adam, go.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
because
no.
when they were talking, I liked when they were giving all that backstory. Because I like movies, like horror movies, and they give a little bit like of backstory and information, so it tied it together better. Like it makes me want like if he did what happens in that scene, I would want it a sequel. Like,
Yeah.
And to his name meant the all-inspiring famous one, some like old term or something.
Yeah.
That's what it meant. Like, but yeah,
Yeah.
but I liked up to there. That was like where I kind of didn't like where the movie ended, actually. But that scene I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, he ends up Aylmer kills the old man as well, right?
Mhm.
Well,
Tec-
at first,
Technically not
Oh,
killed.
technically
Yeah.
he
but
doesn't kill him because that
that's
scene's actually pretty crazy because, well, he ends up basically almost killing the old dude.
right.
Yeah, I'll go with almost.
It like
Almost
it's
killed him.
implied that he's dead, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden he's not dead. Like,
Yeah,
And then-
you're like, oh shit.
Brian sticks Aylmer back on his neck,
Mhm.
right.
and anyways, or I could say Brian sticks Adam back on his neck. To the stream, you know.
Start
Aylmer,
giving him that. Like,
It's the thing for me.
dude, I love that practical those
The
effects.
inside of his mouth is like a trip. Like
I
it looks.
loved it.
It looks like
Blue
it could be
lines
a
and red. It just
a
pops.
brush. It looks like it could be a mixture of a brush, a toothbrush. You've got some glitter in there.
Right.
Like
Squirting
it's
that
kind of
blue
like
juice out.
yeah, kind of like Benicio said earlier that they were, basically dumpster diving for shit. All the stuff that they found, they literally put in Aylmer's mouth and created
It
teeth.
was all the leftover like wires and stuff. Like this works.
Yeah.
it does. It did work. But
Yeah.
so he's got him on the back.
He's
of his
on.
neck,
Yeah, he's on there.
and he's like, okay, give me the juice again. And as soon as he's juicing him and putting it in, the old man comes and squeezes Aylmer, and that's like overdose in that scene.
Yep.
Almost. Talk
Yeah.
about overdose.
Yeah.
He gets really messed up in that scene.
Yeah.
And
The
like we
juice
see
is
that.
flowing, just flowing.
Yeah. Sparks are flying. Sparks are flying.
Inside the brain. What did you think of the brain capsule, kind of where he's putting it in? The
Every time they showed it.
Yeah, the juice with the where he's dropping it in. I thought that was also really cool.
Yeah, it's really
practical effects.
I like it.
Yeah, the more good colors and everything like that. But yeah, so in that scene, now everything draws a blank on me. But so eventually he pulls
He
him
grabs
off.
his shaft, grabs Aylmer by the neck, the shaft. Squeezes
He
it.
went for
Squeezes
squeeze the shaft.
Squeezing the juice.
Squeezing the juice out of the shaft.
And then he throws him on the ground. And that's when he bleeds out, bleeds out on the ground,
yeah,
squirting
around.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, it's been that easy the whole time.
And then he grows the bubble. Remember, he grows the horn,
oh
yeah,
the
pulsating zit on the
just out of there pops out, and that's when he head back to the apartment or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the movie kind of I didn't like how it ended for me.
Ooh, yes, the ending. We got to talk about that. So
that's where it comes to. It's this is where it ends, basically.
Because he got fucked up from the overdose. That's exactly what that was at the end there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And he just tried to kill himself, really.
Yeah, so I'll let you guys talk about the ending here. We'll kind of all take our turn, but go ahead, Benicio, take away your thoughts on the ending there.
Yeah, I mean, I was okay with the ending, because I mean, I feel like you said Caprice, it was that easy to just kill him, but they didn't want to kill him because they were so addicted to it. They needed him, So it's
they
didn't even think about wanting to kill him until that guy was like, "Fuck it, he doesn't want me, so I'm gonna just fuck him over because he's gonna end up dying anyway because of having withdrawals." So I mean, I like the way that it ended because he was no longer there. So he had no choice. He's over there suffering, fucking bulge coming out of his head. He just said, forget it. And he tries to shoot himself in the head. The thing that I don't really get is the white light that's coming out of there. What is that really? I mean, I have a couple different theories of what that's supposed to mean, but what do you guys
think? Do too.
I was going to ask you because I didn't know what the hell that was. He had a hole in his head,
for me, when they walk in and they see that he has like the hole in his head and it's just like a bright light.
Yeah.
For me, I kind of interpreted that as like his moment of clarity. There was nothing there. It was just a bright light. There was nothing intruding. There was nothing controlling it. It was just him.
Yeah.
So for me, that's how I took it. I didn't take it as him actually passing away or anything like that. I took it as he finally had his clarity. Like he was back to normal and he was fine, even though he had like the gaping light in his head. But the way the movie ended, I was kind of hoping for a little bit of something different, but at the same time, I'm not surprised it ended that way. Especially with it coming to him wanting to blow his brain out because Elmer was in there doing what he was doing. So for me, the ending was okay. I wish it had ended like a little bit different, maybe with Elmer being taken out and being crushed to death or whatever. But I mean, I feel like it ended the way it needed to. But that's how I took the hole in the head. That was clarity. That's just how I took it.
Adam?
I feel like metaphorically, you're probably right. I do think he's dead, though. I feel like, every time he did that shit, it was like electricity, also like literal electricity going through his brain. So I feel like that, like him trying to do that, almost like was everything that Elmer was putting inside him, trying to like escape from the body, like trying to get away. So I think when everybody, you see that blank look, he was like no longer a human. He was just being ran by whatever that fucking juice was that they was giving him. So I feel like he was just completely like not even himself. He's just
he did blow his
overload.
brain.
Yeah,
he did blow his brains out too, didn't he?
Yeah.
He shot him.
Well, that's why there's the hole.
That's what you hear. Remember, like when the cops are outside and they pull up, and that's when he's like, and he's going to do it, and then you hear pop, pop, and then you see the light beam out, and it gets brighter out the window. And,
and then when they go into the room, he's there, and he's kind of got his eyes wide. His eyes are open, but he's got the
just like
the light beam coming out of his head.
There was like, I think, a quote in the beginning of the movie or first part of the movie where it was like, just listen to the light, so they obviously tied back to that. I think it was Elmer saying that to him, just listen to the light in his first trip. I think that's where it was. They wanted to tie something with light, but they just didn't do enough. Why the light was important? Like because it left me open. Like, okay, there's light coming out of his head. He overloaded on the drug, and I'd want to kill myself too with what was happening. But like, it just didn't like. It's just I wanted it to end where like Elmer was still alive. Maybe I just like open-endedness to where that if there was someone that wanted to pick up a brain damage too down the line. But this one was like, there's no more Elmer.
I'm in the.
I believe he's dead too, Brian. So.
I'm in the opposite boat of you, Adam. I like.
You like closure.
I like closure, and I know it's funny because Tim Talkies always talks about how much he doesn't like Black Phone, for example. I haven't seen it yet, but he'll talk about how he doesn't need everything to be spoon-fed to him. Like he's okay with them not explaining everything at the end of it, and he doesn't need sequels to everything.
I agree.
I don't need a sequel. But I just would have liked the idea if there wanted to be like just leaving the door open. I like on the approach of just
you wanted another triple head scene.
Yeah, exactly. Elmer was so fun because Elmer was just so much fun. I wouldn't have minded it, but it was just a little confusing where just the light coming out. It wasn't for me. It just didn't. Nothing was explained well enough with the light because I didn't see it like other parts in the movie where light came into play as much, except for the when he hallucinated, but it wasn't like bright white light. It was colors in the first one. So I don't know, but it just ended, and that was it. It was like the light, and then
that was it.
Done.
Credits,
and then it was over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So finishing that up, what were your overall thoughts on it? Rating, overall thoughts. We'll start with you, Benicio.
Are we doing 1 to 5 or are we doing 1 to 10?
We'll go 1 to 5 stars.
Yeah, 5.
So, I have actually. Can I ask you guys a quick question? Actually, we'll ask after. I'll keep it. Okay, so I actually really love this movie. I seen this movie a long time ago. The first I seen Basket Case, and then I seen this movie. So I actually really enjoy this movie. Like I said, I'm a hound when it comes to special effects and everything like that. I thought the story gave me enough. Yes, there was more that I did want. I do agree with you on the closure of the light, things like that. But I'm still rocking with a 4-star on this one. I really enjoy this movie. And I enjoy Frank Henlotter a lot.
Yeah. Adam?
Well, for me, out of 5, I'm going to give it a 3.5. The only reason it loses points for me is because of the ending. You know, what I just talked about. That was one of the part I didn't like. The other was the repetitiveness of the kills. I know Elmer likes brains. There's only so much you can do with eating brains. So I get that, but I just wanted a little different versus mouth and then straight to the hole. And then the sleaziness. I really like sleaziness. I didn't get enough sleaze. So maybe like
this guy needs porno holocaust.
I like my exploitation, and this is not an exploitation, so I still like it. So it's solid 3.5. Maybe even.
I love that.
I mean, it's teetering towards the 4, but it's definitely teetering to the 4, whatever. But 3.5 for me. But those are my rating: the ending, the repetitive on that, and then the lack of sleaze.
Gotcha. Caprice.
If I was gonna do a 5, 1 out of 5, I would do a solid 3 for me. And my reasoning is the same as Adam. It was kind of the ending for me that kind of was like, it was a little. I mean, with that as colorful and as active as the whole movie was, like even in the very beginning, there was no fluff. It went straight into it. And then you get to this ending and you're just left with so many questions and you're kind of just like, that's it? Like, okay, well, what the hell did that mean? And then you have to sit there and you have to try to interpret your own ending for it. As far as the whole movie goes, I love like 80s camp, cheese, horror comedies. Like, it's my thing. Me and Benicio have talked about this a couple times, like especially with one of my favorite movies being like Creepshow and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's like I love this kind of thing. And then when I'm watching this one, it had me. It really did. It had me for most of the movie, and then the ending, I was just kind of like, well, fuck. Like,
I feel like you got to give it a little bit more credit just because, like what you said, Creepshow and Killer Clowns, you're giving those ones an example. This thing is even more micro budget compared to those.
No, I know, and that's where I am giving it, its full credit. Like, for what it was, for what the budget was, this movie was really, I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I watched it 2.5 times. So going into that, is enough. And
3 stars, I was expecting Caprice to say like 4.5 or 5 because you watched it 2.5 times.
2.5 times, but that's why I watched it 2.5 times, because I wanted to make sure, because I knew that we were going to eventually rate this at some part of the night.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go in and I wanted to be sure and concrete on my reasoning for giving it a 3. But I'm also a very harsh critic when it comes to my 80s horror comedies. And this one, I'm very glad that I saw it. I did enjoy it for the most part. I really did like the underlying story of it. It was just, it was just the ending for me. And the kills, like Adam said, were very repetitive. But again, you can only do so much with brains. It's kind of like watching a zombie movie. They're just going after brains the whole time, and it's like you can only do so much with that. And so I'm pretty confident in my 3. I would definitely recommend it to somebody to watch, especially if they hadn't seen it. I would say, yes, watch this and see what your rating is. Everybody's rating system is going to be different. But for me, just compared to my other horror comedies and, stuff like that, I would say this is a very solid 3 for me. And 3 for me is not bad. 3 is not bad. It's like when you're getting into 1.5 and 2 with me, you should be concerned. But 3 to 4 and 5, you're pretty solid. So 3 is a very solid rating for me.
I am gonna have to give this a 3.5. So first time I watched it was probably about 2.5 years ago. I gave it 3.5, and upon rewatch, I would give it like a low 3.5. And for me, I really appreciate the colors. I appreciate the kind of the meaning of the film, what it means, what the underlying tones are, the message and things like that about addiction. I'm totally into that. I think there's some great scenes. I think that it's very well made as well, especially like you were saying, Benicio, on a micro budget. So really appreciate that. The practical effects, especially after watching The Thing the night before, I thought this was like some really good practical effects there. So
It was.
for those reasons in particular, I give it 3.5. It is extremely slow paced. It really doesn't pick up at any point. However, it never bored me though. The film's not really boring, but it's very slow. So, that's kind of my thoughts on the movie. The ending didn't bother me. I didn't love it. I didn't have an issue with it. But I didn't necessarily love it either. So yeah, 3.5 for me, 3.5 out of 5 stars. So yeah.
I have a question now. Do you guys have all you guys seen Basket Case?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you like Basket Case better, or do you like this better?
For me, it's Basket Case.
For me, it's Basket Case as
It's
well.
Basket
so
Case.
Yeah,
hard
one
because I
Basket
give
Case one.
Oh yeah,
I give,
Basket Case one.
Yeah.
yeah. I give both like a 3.5. To be honest with you, I did like Basket Case probably a tad bit more, maybe.
The Basket Case gets a 4 from me.
Yeah, but Basket Case gets even a higher rating than this one does for me. I fucking
and it's only 2 for me. I like smaller casted movies.
Yeah.
Like really, because Belial and Dwayne. I mean, Basket Case 1, there was not a lot, and that's talk about budget.
Yeah,
that one was made on like
$3,000,
like $9. It was made on nothing.
Yeah,
they got nothing.
Yeah,
yes,
nothing. So this movie had like 100 times the budget. You can tell the effects were better, but I like Belial because it was new, like different for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And scarier, like having a brother out of a basket.
Yeah,
right.
They could talk to you through your mind and shit. Like
your twin, your distorted, your distorted twin brother just like hanging out in the fucking dumpster.
What did you guys think of the transfer, at least on the Blu-ray?
I can't even imagine what the VHS looked like back in the day. So I think
we all watched the Arrow version.
Yeah.
I liked it.
He watched on Tubi.
I watched it on Tubi.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. But I liked mine.
So if you're looking to, watch it, it's on Tubi TV. Anybody watch any of the special features on it?
I watched a couple of them. I watched. It was like the scenes. They were with Frank Henlotter and they went to like a couple of the shooting locations. Like they showed the apartment complex, they showed the warehouse or they showed the outside of the building. So this was where the warehouse where they had the dance, where they went down there. They went to that subway station as well. And then there was a Q&A on there. I started watching it, but then I was trying to get into this this stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad we got the chance to review Brain Damage as our first review. This was fun. And, if you're still with us, still watching, make sure to drop a comment in the comment section down below, letting us know what you thought, each guest in here, things like that. And if you'd like to see us do a live stream instead of a pre-recorded stream, let us know. We are always open to recommendations, what we can do better as a group, who you would like to see me do reviews with, things like that. But yeah, how about the 3 of you? Did you have fun?
Yeah, it's always a blast hanging out with you, Bob.
Yeah, I always enjoy talking movies. Like I said, I could just, honestly speaking, I felt like the 3 of you were over my head as far as like your knowledge for this film. You had a lot more impact on the review than I did. I was like,
You're a great host though, Bob.
Yes, damn it, Bob.
Isn't that how it works? Usually the host, they like know enough you know, like to get through the night, like, but they don't know everything, but they
Yeah.
coordinate
But
really well. And
I
like,
was able to speak on the addiction. That's what I got out of it.
yes, you had
But
your
I was
part.
like,
I think you
but
do great.
but
That's why I would come
that's
back.
why I knew Caprice and Adam could take over the blowjob scene. I was like,
Yes.
I was like, that's their thing. So, yes.
Yeah, because me and Adam just live and breathe exploitation. So
Right.
why not?
Look at the smile on this guy's face. Of course he does.
Of course. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun stuff. And when I
Fun.
first started horror movies, I didn't start with exploitation. I just found it like that
I
niche.
did.
Well, I started like as a kid, Jaws and all the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, and like my two favorite actually horror movies are not exploitation. It's actually two
either.
campy, cheesy movies, which is
Me too.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and Return of
Yes.
the Living Dead. Those are actually my favorite horror movies because that's when I grew up with my brother, we rented those at Blockbuster every time we could rent them. And it was rare that they were there in my little small town because everybody wanted those movies, but we fell in love with them. We watched them like 50 times as a kid together. And those are just, they've stuck with me. Like, they're not everyone's favorites, but
I've said this before a lot. Like, if I had watched, being a big fan of I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, if I had watched something like that today for the first time, would I still feel the same way? Probably not. Maybe but I was 8 or 7 years old when I saw it, so certain movies hold a special place in your heart. Even 30 years later, it doesn't matter. But if you watched it for the first time, if you erased your knowledge, would you still feel the same way? It's one of those things.
Probably not.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, well, that's all for tonight, but I'm glad you guys enjoyed the review. Thank you so much for joining. This was a blast, honestly. So, but yeah, until next time, thank you everyone, and have a good night. Make sure you subscribe to each of these guests. Links are in the description down below. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. See you next time.